Hi, friends. Welcome to my home virtual yoga class. This is my third class I've ever taught online. The very first one I ever did was fun. It was live, so I didn't really have to think about anything. And yesterday I did a cute little practice, about 13 minutes with my grandson, on the reality of what it's like when you're home with a small one. So today I woke up feeling really achy in my hips and my lower back, most likely from playing with my grandson, being up and down in bursts of energy all through the day. So I would like to work on hips and lower back. For those of you that are new to my yoga classes, I teach at Evolve Yoga and Fitness in Cadillac, Michigan on Mondays and Wednesdays. I love it. And I also have a business here in my home where I do private yoga lessons, and that's at People's Yoga and Aerial Fitness in Grand, Michigan, right outside of Traverse City. And so for those of you that are making a home yoga studio, I just want to let you know that this heater over here is the bomb. I mean, it really is. It kicks my space up to over 100 degrees if I want, which I don't, but I do like it pretty hot. I usually like it around 90, 95, so that I can start to produce more of a sweat. And I used just your basic humidifier for my small space. So hopefully I've got this camera angle still good now that I'm moving it around. So you can, kick your heat up if you want a little more fire to your practice and a little more warmth in the bones, because it's really nice to be warmer in the body when we're practicing yoga. Today is going to be a more gentle practice. Those of you that have been practicing with me at Evolve Yoga and Fitness might not be used to that. It's not a gentle practice on Monday and Wednesday. But I think this is a contemplative time, a time to go inward and slow down. But you know what to do if you want more fire, so feel free to add more fire, and let's get started. I love that I'm crawling back here for you. I was going to do a stop and paste and put it all together, but you know what? That's not the reality of life. And you know me, I like to stay in the reality. So for me, I have a blanket and a medium-sized black bolster I like to sit on. Feel free to sit on your glutes, on your butt. You can have one leg out, you can lay back on your spine, but making sure you're comfortable. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale through the mouth. Those of you that have had my practices over the last 10 years, I like to pull an inspirational card to maybe even help you find your intention, because we have to think about, why are we practicing? I mean, let's start there with our intention. What brought you to your mat today? What made you set this time aside? Today I am working with the Power of Now Eckhart Tolle deck. It's an inspirational deck. Thought it might be fitting as a group. Ooh, almost a jumper. Let's see. Today's Portals to the Now. So if you've read The Power of Now, this book is amazing. I highly recommend it. I used to make it a required reading for a few of the 200-hour teacher trainings I taught in the past. Make it a habit to ask yourself, what's going on inside me at this moment? The question will point you in the right direction. Don't analyze, just watch. Focus your attention within. Feel the energy of the emotion. And if there is no emotion present, take your attention more deeply into the inner energy field of your body. It is the doorway into being. I love that. I love this card. So many of us have heard the benefits of yoga. In yoga, you'll hear the short version is yoking, right? We're bringing our mind, body, and spirit together, but it's so much more than that. Deskachar tells us it's that internal reflection with our eyes closed, like having a mirror right in front of you, It's the internal reflection on how we show up on the mat. So many of us compare our physical body to a body we had 10 or 15 years ago. Some of us secretly compete with others in a public class because we are so driven to be the best. And here on the mat, we start to see that reflection mirroring back at us. We also see the really sweet moments of us feeling just the breath in and out of the body, and we find that we just kind of float away in the practice. It becomes more of a moving meditation, and that's what I'm hoping for you today. So let's get started. You'll see that I take a drink of a big, huge glass of water, and inside my water is vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams. It's the Emergency brand, in case you were wondering. Okay. So let's get started. You can start your own playlist. I know some of you love my music, but I guess I can't always post music. So you can follow me on Spotify, Kelly and the letter N as in Nancy, Kelly and Ted Stiglich. You'll find this on Spotify. You can pop in that playlist that you love so much from my class. And I'm taking my fists and I'm starting to knead the bottoms of my feet. And I'm deciding right now, am I comfortable enough? Am I achy? I've been sitting here for a while. Quite frankly, I'm getting a little achy. Whew. And my knees are getting a little stiff. So I'm going to start to move my body a little and come to a more seated position because I think that'll feel better in my body. I'm going to have one leg up. Like I said, it's okay. I want to find the comfort within the pose, a little balance between effort and ease. Now close your eyes and allow me to guide you, okay? Trust in your ears. Something sounds strange, pop your eyes open and take a peek at me. I'm inhaling and exhaling. Let's inhale 6 counts, so you count it in your mind, you count it. Inhaling 6, pause at the top, just holding that breath for a moment, and then releasing the breath, 6 counts. And notice if you feel really hungry for the breath, okay? Notice. I want you to avoid that hungry feeling. So sometimes when I inhale like this, I pause and I exhale a little quickly. I'm hungry, I feel hungry, and I do. And I breathe in deeply through the mouth, or a burst of energy through the nose. We want to try to keep it even on the inhale and even on the exhale, creating a beautiful fluid movement. You can even visualize a circle behind your closed eyes with a golden part on that circle. And as you inhale, that 6 counts. You see it moving in a little pause, and then it continues to move. Emptying out a little pause, but no burst, no rapidness, no shakiness. And it takes a few rounds. And this is a nice rhythmic breath. And we're going to continue with this rhythmic breath. Some of you that have been practicing for a while practice what's called the Ujjayi breath. It means victorious breath. There's a little narrowing on the back of the throat. It's much like sipping in on a straw. And so you can inhale in that 6 counts and hear a little hum between the ears, and exhale that same 6 counts, only you hear a little sound. And that sound can be your playlist. It can be the playlist while you're practicing on your mat, and also your focal point. And then let's set our intention today to feel what's going on inside of us. What is that? And at any time, if you feel physical pain, that's an indication to change this posture, to shift in a different direction with it or out of it altogether. Okay, we do not work into pain, not in this yoga class. I'm just setting my intention. And then we'll move into what I call a child's pose. So I'm going to turn to the side, move my props out of the way, walk my knees back. I like to separate them to create space for my belly and my chest. You can take your two big toes together or somewhat near each other and start to walk and shift your hips back. Now some of you are way up high, so you'll want to fill in that space either with a bolster or even a bolster back here. You can use your pillows from your couch should you need, okay? But it's important to support that head so you don't feel uncomfortable in this pose. Again, close your eyes. Breathe all the way up to the upper back. Feel the side body. One more breath. We're going to bring our hands closer to the body now, right underneath your shoulders. Walk your knees together. And let's come into cat and cow. I did this yesterday. So I am arcing the spine, lifting the sit bones up toward the ceiling, rolling my shoulders back. And if you notice, this releases my neck so I can look up and then round the upper body. Drop the head down, even looking back at the upper thighs. Let's do this 2 more times. You can flatten the top of the feet or tuck the toes. You decide. Let's tuck these toes now. So by tucking the toes, I'm going to stretch the top of the feet. A lot of times our lower backache can start right in the ankles, believe it or not. And I'm going to sit up on my heels. Some of you sitting all the way up here, you're going to be suffering. And again, this is not yoga, okay? So come off those toes any degree. Back off of pushing into the top of the foot. If that is too great of a sensation, this is fine. I'm going to sit here for another 5 breaths, feeling the stretch in my feet, my knees, my hips. And blink my eyes open. Plant the hands down on the floor and flatten the tops of the feet. Turn the fingertips around, okay? And now I'm repositioning my knees and walking my hands back any amount that allows me to feel the stretch in the tops of the hands, the wrists. Right now we are really on social media a lot. Our poor hands need some extra loving. So again, I'm just going into where I'm feeling it. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. Rocking back and forth. And so now I'm going to try to lift my fingertips up, keeping the pads of the fingers down on the mat. And I had to shift my body forward in order to start and then shift the weight back any degree to get into a different area of the feet. It's really tough, but it's great. It's fun. And then shaking out the hands, taking the time. If your knees are really having a hard time, you can also come way up on your knees. Putting the knuckle in between the webbing of the hand. And straightening the elbows any degree now. Rocking side to side, feeling a different sensation in the fists. rotating those wrists. The idea when we're practicing yoga, I'll see people coming into a down dog and they push directly down onto the hands. I want you to think about sliding that mat away and having this angle in the arm. This nice long line. So now I'm in a modified child's pose. I'm rocking a little side to side on my hips. And my hips are still not feeling quite ready to even practice a down dog. And often when we come into class, we forget about that. What do I need? Well, I need to get on my spine. So I'm going to turn around onto my back, plant my feet, and roll down onto my spine. Hug the knees into my chest. Rock a little side to side. You know, this is really new for me, trying to teach and put the posture in my body. It's kind of fun too, something different. Hug the knees in. And now I'm going to look to the right and left of me to make sure I have a lot of room to spread out my arms. Hug the knees together. You can also put a blanket or a bolster between the thighs if you'd like. And I'll bring both knees over to the right and let them float. Draw the core in and bring the knees to the center and over to the other side. And let your inhale help you here. Inhale. That's 6 counts. Pause at the top. And hold on the exhale. Inhale, move again. And then through center. Hug in again. If you want a little bit more efforting, you can cross the arms over the shoulders and come right where you were. You might even topple over because you'll see how much your shoulders were helping. So I'm not coming in as deep because I can sense that I would fall over. Allow your head to come up. And then we'll release the right leg down and hold on to the left knee. So I'm keeping this right leg that's on the mat active, hugging the right knee in any degree. Soften the shoulders. So we don't want it up here in the neck. Soften the shoulders. Allow the chin to come down. Some of you will have a big curve in your spine. Your head looks back. If that's the case, I want you to take that blanket or pillow and put it underneath your neck to encourage the chin to tuck toward the neck, the thyroid. We're stimulating that thyroid right here at the front of the throat. Deep breath in. Notice I'm rocking my leg a little side to side. I like to feel what's happening right in those hip creases, into the hip girdle. And I want to hug into a space that feels interesting to me. And I'm noticing if there's any achiness or crunchiness in the joint. And by noticing it, I'm really getting in touch with my body, because our body is always talking to us, always. Let's hug that right knee in. And let's take this knee into the right hand. Left arm's going to come right out to the side. We're going to draw that knee across the body. And the most important part of this pose for right now is leaving both shoulders grounded. Okay, so if your shoulder starts to lift up, I want you to not go as far. Just go to where it's grounded. Breathe all into the side body. And you can feel where it's a little more challenged in the twist to get that full breath to the belly. So let's do that for 3 rounds. I can feel my body sinking a little deeper with each exhalation. hug that knee up toward the shoulder first. Bring it all the way around. And hug it in again. Reposition the spine. Draw the neck down. And then we'll open the knee into the left hand. My elbow is going to pause right here as a kickstand. For me, this is as far as it's going to go because I don't want to rock into it. I'm just opening up to where I naturally stop. Bring that knee back to center and straighten that left leg all the way up to the ceiling. If you notice, I took my hands around the back of my thighs. Okay? You can also use a strap. If you don't have a strap, you can use a necktie or a belt or a thin piece of fabric. And I'm not holding way down here. I'm taking the hands as high as I can up toward the feet. I have really long arms, so it may seem a little easier for me with long arms. I'm going to reach that heel up to the ceiling. And I'm noticing if I bend my right foot and plant it, I feel a little more stable in my low back. So I'm going to reach that left leg up. At the same time, anchor this left hip down. So I'm reaching and anchoring at the same time, which is really one of the little mini definitions of that Hatha yoga. It's opposing forces. So I'm reaching up. That's what it means, opposing forces, and anchoring down at the same time. I'm going to take the strap, climb my left hand up, put my right hand on my right hip to weigh it down and open my left leg any degree. I'm going to feel a sensation on that inner thigh. And I'm trying not to roll this way into it, okay? Keeping those hips anchored in, opening up and just feeling the stretch. You can still extend that right leg long if it feels better for you. For me, it feels better to have it bent. Two more breaths. Use that inner thigh in my left hand to bring that leg back to center. Now extending the right leg long if it's not already. Left hand's going to come out, and this time I'm going to reach that heel. I'm going to get into my IT band and straighten the leg and bring it across the body, any degree. And I have this wall, so it's kind of nice. I can push on the wall. You can allow the shoulder to lift now if you really want, as long as it feels safe. You can even reach that left arm above the ear. And notice how my throat just got a little choking from this reaching. When I'm choking like that, that means prana is stuck, life force. Breath is stuck. We want it to be fluid, so I'm going to back off a little and breathe in. Full breaths and breathe out. Reposition my arm. Help the left leg come back up. Plant that right foot. Release the strap. Hug the knee in again. So bring it right across the ribs. I'm not moving around the ribs just yet. Right across the ribs, extending the right leg back down. I think the hardest part for gentle yoga is feeling bored. We sometimes feel like we got to whip around the mat. But in order to really get into the postures and see differences, spending more time there. Now I'm going to allow this right leg to lift. And before I do, I want to contract the core. So I'm going to draw my belly button toward my spine and even tilt this pelvis in just a little bit. It takes a little of the low back curve out, but not all of it, just a little. And lift that right leg up. As I exhale, I can bring my chest up, forehead up. But if this is straining your neck, I'd like you to stay here, which is where I'm going to stay. And then without turning the foot, from one side to the other side, I'm going to leave that toe pointed straight up. I'm going to glide that leg over to the right without it lifting higher, hopefully, and glide it back over to the left. Glide it to the right. Glide it to the left. Bring it back to center, lower it down, hug that knee in more. We just created more space. Oh, I love that. Let's re-straighten that left leg and then lower it down. Turn the palms up. This is called Shavasana. Allow yourself to feel the differences from one side of the body to the other. Breathing in and out. Now I'm going to try to remember what I did on the other side. So I'll do the best I can. Might not be perfect. I'm allowing myself to be intuitively guided. I'm going to walk both feet in, hug, the knees in. Rather than have them here and coming into the side core, I'm going to add a little more fire and straighten the legs. So I can feel a little bit of my transverse, my lower abs working, and come into some circles. Some of you might want more fire. You could come right up to a modified boat pose or a full boat. Right here. And we'll just do some little circles. And circle the other way. Lower back down, separate the knees this time, and we'll bring wide circles in. So it's a little variation on what we did before. Still very balanced for the body. And just noticing, how do you feel right now? How do your hips feel? And we'll lower that left leg down. Hug the right knee into the chest. And I'm keeping this left leg nice and active. Toes are pointed to the ceiling. And begin to rock that knee toward your midline of your body, the outer edges of the body. You can even let go of your left hand. Hug that knee in. And this time we'll take that knee into the left hand, right arm out, and rolling over to the side any degree. Leaving both shoulders grounded. Taking 3 breaths, really feeling the separation of the intercostal muscles in between the ribs. Another breath in. Coming back to center, I hug that knee toward the chest and around, drawing the core in more. You can also add a little sit-up anytime you'd like. I like to walk my left foot in and straightening the right leg any degree. Holding the back of the leg if you don't have a strap. And reaching and lowering the hip. Reaching and lowering. So it's not about taking the foot behind the head. We're just going to where that resistance is. And if you don't have a strap and you're holding your leg here, or you can take your fingertips around the big toe, open that leg up any degree, leaving the shoulders grounded. You can extend that left leg long. Notice the leg comes up. My right leg comes up when I extend my left leg long. I always find these interesting discoveries of where maybe some of my limitations might be. It might be because of my bone structure. It might be because my muscles are tight. But staying present and being with what sensations are in the body. Bringing that right leg back over. I'm going to switch. Holding on, you can use a strap. You can put your hand here, wherever is best for you, and coming across the body any degree. You want more fire, you could reach back for the bind. I don't want more fire. I just want to stretch. Get my hips open, get my breath moving. Feel good in my physical body so I can feel good mentally. Lifting that leg back up to center. Hug that knee in again. You can exhale and bring the head up. Come back down. I'm going to open, keeping that left hand anchored to the hip, and open the right leg. My right elbow is like a kickstand. Bringing it back over, back to center. This time I'm going to leave my back body up and swing that leg to the left. Notice my foot's coming out, so I'm going to try to point it up. Ooh, it's tough. Over to the right. And back over through the midline. Back to center, hug in. Creating more space. And before I reach this leg back up, I'm going to bring this one in and come into a happy baby. So a happy baby can reach on the outside of the feet or inside. Some of you easily can lift those feet up, and some of you, you'll find your feet are here. Either way is fine. If your arms are too short, grab behind the thighs. I like to roll from one thigh to the other thigh. Straightening the legs. Bring them right straight. Open up again. And just feeling a stretch all the way from thoracic T12 to my heels. Straightening the legs. I'm going to support my low back, lower the legs, turn the palms up, Shavasana. I feel like my hips feel amazing, my thighs. There's a coolness. Oh, it feels great. I feel grounded. And before I come off my spine, I want to come into a bridge pose. And before I do, I'm going to walk my heels toward my glutes, take the fingertips to the heels. Some of you have really short arms, so just stay in alignment. Roll your shoulders back. You can press those sit bones up. Lengthen the back of the neck. And lower down on the exhale. Inhale, lifting up, reaching up. And exhale. Those of you that feel a little bit more challenged with this, maybe the quads are fatigued, you can bring the floor up to you and rest right onto a brick and then lift from here. And add the arms for a rolling bridge. Even one arm at a time if that feels best. Bend the elbows if you need to. And the other side. With the sit bones planted, take your right foot behind the left ankle and allow the knee to open up any degree. So it's opening up into a half butterfly to the floor. And I'm just stretching the top of the quads. And take a bind with your hand to your foot if that's available. And just feeling the outer edge, hips, quads, stretching and opening. If this is boring, you come up on a brick, and we'll do that next round though, after this side. The left foot comes behind. I like to take the bind, opening up this left thigh any degree. And notice I was pushing it, lost some of my prana. So just lying here in the truth, letting my body be where it is. And release. Now I'll take this brick. You can also use a pillow or a bolster. And I'm placing it right on the sacrum. And the sacrum's that lowest plate after that lumbar spine, the low part of the spine. And I lengthen the back of my neck. I'm going to come into that same variation. This is going to create more sensation on the right thigh. The other side. I'm just taking 3 breaths. Seems to be enough for me right now. If you find you're fighting this, then the brick is too high. I want to be able to just let gravity do the work. And release. We're in a little back bend, so I'm going to lower down a windshield wiper the knees side to side, just to release that back bend, keeping the low vertebra nice and safe, resetting the spine. And honestly, you could end your practice right here. Right here is a great place. You can just start your day. But I'm going to go up to the spine and the shoulders so you can have a little bit more complete practice. It's probably about a half an hour long, I'm guessing. I'm not quite sure. And I'll roll to my side, pressing to tabletop. And a little cat-cow. Now I have a very short upper torso versus the length of my legs and my arms, so I use a blanket for this twist. I'm going to come into a twist and take my right arm underneath my left armpit. And I like to bring my shoulders right to the blanket because this lifts the floor up for me. And then to the other side. Shoulder comes down. If you want more, you can extend the leg out, pull the core in, reach the right arm up, take it behind. That's all up to you. I want more gentle. Even reach over the head. And then coming all the way down on the spine. Here's one option. It's a small back bend. And another option, taking those elbows under the shoulders for Sphinx. Nice back bend here. I'm just kind of feeling my spine. And I'll reach my arms out like a T. Lift my legs, lift my arms. Another breath. And one final breath. Take the right hand underneath the right shoulder, and I'm extending my arm out like this on the opposite side. Okay? Straight. And I'm going to roll toward that shoulder, taking, you can either stack your knees, or take one knee up. Notice how much space I have for my head, and I don't want it hanging in space, so it's nice to have a pillow, a blanket, so that I can rest. And the idea is just to stretch the shoulder, okay? Some of you could bring 2 knees up. I find sometimes that I overstretch this way, pretty flexible in the shoulders, so I'm looking for more gentle, just opening the shoulders. Extend that leg and come back over, and now to the other side. Left hand, your left hand will be under the shoulder. Roll toward, this is what the foot looks like behind. You can take your hand behind to the bind if you want. You decide. One more breath. Pressing back up. Come to seated. Sit in any way you'd like. I like to sit kind of a little version of that crisscross applesauce without actually crisscrossing my legs. And twisting to the right, taking my left hand to the right knee. And the other way. Back to center. And lengthen the back of the neck. Drop the chin to the chest. Roll over to the left shoulder. Over to the right shoulder. And to the right. And bring the head up. And I like to exercise my muscles of my eyes as well. So taking the gaze to the left and then center to the nose, to a space out in front of you beyond. Back to the nose, back to the right, to center, to the nose, to the left, to the nose, out beyond, halfway between, to the nose. Close the eyes. Soften the jaw, soften the tongue, and come in onto your spine now for final Shavasana. So you can just lay flat on your back. Explore with turning the palms up. Separate the legs a little wider. Occupy a lot of space on your mat. Breathing in and breathing out. And allow yourself to just rest. Give yourself at least 3 minutes. Let whatever happens, happen. And thank you Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste. Now you get to see me turn this off because I'm not going to do any cutting. Namaste, Prince.